Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about sketching assignment 4 on multiviews. So why are these important for civil engineers? Well, as much as I would like for everything in construction to be a 3D model, sadly we still build buildings off of 2D drawings. So anything that you actually see will be, a plan view or an elevation view. Those are really just multi-views of an actual building. Similarly, for individual products, like if you're trying to look at some type of screw or something, they're going to show it as a multi-view. So it's really good to understand how you visualize a 3D object and turn it into multi-views as if you're looking at it on a glass box. And in a very intuitive way, aligned multi-views, which minimizes the amount of scales that you'll need to do, because in fact everything is aligned with one another. So I'll just show you how these things work, but just for a quick example from the textbook. Let's see, here is essentially what we're doing. So we're looking at it in a box, and then we're unfolding that box to make sure that we can see all of the sides of it. However, most geometry can be described with just 3 different multi-views. So for the purposes of this course, we're just going to be doing 3 of them. Alright, so the steps that we're going to do here is I'm given an isometric, right? I'm given an isometric, and I want to draw the multi-views for this object. So I'm going to have to identify what the different views are. And we start with the front face. That's that one in the middle over here that you'll see. The front face is the middle. So let's figure out what the front is. If the front is the most descriptive face, I think that's this one over here, right? The one that has both this plane and also this plane that has this circular feature inside. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to draw a nice bounding box around my isometric to make sure that I can actually see what's going on each face, so I can confirm the dimensions just as a sanity check. So I'm going to start, I'll angle the paper to my comfortable straight line drawing angle and try to get parallel lines to each of these edges and features. So first, I'll project this one out. This is an easy one. Project it out very lightly, just as a construction line. Similarly, over here. So these will be 2 features in my bounding box around this, and this will help us construct our bounding box for the multi-views. Right? Okay, what else do I have? This one up here. I can draw one that's basically parallel. And I'll just go further than I need to, because it'll be a lot easier later on to connect them. I know all of the vertices need to be parallel. Alright, this needs to be parallel. So even though I have a curved feature, I can still draw that back. And then project this one over here. And up. I can clean this up a little bit. So get your bounding box around your object, just to make sure. So this is going to be my front view. This will be my profile view. And this one's going to be my top view up here. All right, so let's recreate those in the multi-view setting. First, let's take our front view, and we can dimension this because it's an isometric, right? So I'll take this dimension, and that's going to be the front view of my object. So here to here. Then the height, I'll take this dimension. It's going to be here. Let's see, oh, did I get the full one? Yep. Base. Height, here. Okay. Let's close off our box. All right, so here we have our front view of the object. Notice I've given my space for the top view and the profile view. Let's actually just draw those bounding boxes now so we don't get mixed up later. For my top view, this width is going to be the same, right? If I'm drawing this face, the only new dimension I need is from here to here. So let's just take that. So I will project this upward with a very light construction line. And then use that width and project those over. So here's my bounding box for my top. Here's my front, top. Let's do the same for profile view. I have this dimension, which is actually the same, right? It's that same dimension. And then the height is going to be the same as my front view. So I can just project these over. Make sure that these are correct. And give myself some room between each one. Let's see. All right. Bring this straight upward. Do your best to make these as straight as possible so that it will be a lot easier for you to scale later. Okay, I have my bounding boxes for the front, top, and profile views. Let's start by drawing our front face, probably the most difficult one in this case. Okay, if I'm looking at it directly from this side, what's it going to look like? Well, I'm going to be able to see this face right here. I'm also going to be able to see this. So anything on planes that are parallel to the face that I'm looking on, I'm going to be able to see. I would not be able to see this, for example, right? Okay, so let's draw that. I have this feature, this triangle, that comes from the upper right-hand corner, upper left-hand corner of my face, down to that point, that dimension that I just grabbed from the outside. So if I draw one that goes from here to here, I now have this feature defined, right? Okay, what else do I have? I have this feature, this curve, right? In fact, this is the only face that I'm going to be able to see this curve. So how do I locate where it starts? Well, let's see. I know this circle and this curve, it looks like they have the same center. Like if I were to figure out where the center of this circle is, I really feel like these are located on the same center because they are. So I can use that as a strategy to partition. So if I take this dimension and I transfer it over, I can locate where the start of that arc needs to be on both the top and on the side. So I'll bring this one up, this one over, and then I can draw my curve. So using the principles of the box method, I'm going to hug this wall, right? I'm going to hug this wall for as long as I possibly can until I get to the halfway point, and then I'm going to bring it down and hug this wall. So once again, as long as possible, halfway point, hug it down. And that makes as good of a rounded corner as it gets, basically. You can go bold on these. Good. Okay. Now it's time for the circle feature. So, knowing that those started and ended at the same spot, I can just project something downward. Just a quick line that will be erased and over. And that will locate the center of my circle. I also want to grab the diameter, right? So parallel to the bounding box, I can just take this diameter dimension and use that from the center. All right. Oh, this one. And then here. So here's my center, my diameter. Just kind of roughly mark it. Okay. So we can draw our box around this. And again, use the box method to draw our actual circle. So, hug the wall for as long as possible, then bring it over here. On this side, hug the wall, bring it down. Bring it down. Bring it down. Clean up the curve a little bit. And you guys are gonna make it look better than I can, but here we go. Okay, profile view. Same thing. We can take the dimensions and just use them, but our profile view is gonna be a lot easier, right? I see that this is taking up half of the thickness of my object. And from the side, if I'm actually just looking at this curve, it's just gonna look like a rectangle. In fact, I would just be able to take this thickness, which is half, I know it's half, and transfer it over. So I can even just partition it over here if I don't feel like using my trammel. That doesn't look quite right. I think it's about here. Oops, my trammel flew away. Okay. Am I done? Not quite. Well, there's another feature, right? That hole. I need to show it in hidden lines. So if you remember from the very first sketching section, we talked about the different types of lines. So I have two hidden lines indicating that that is a hole. Same location as this hole on the profile view. And in the middle, what do I need? I need a center line. So I'll just put a center line right on the same location as this feature. Long, short, long. Okay. Last thing, I need to show the top view. So now I can actually use my front face to locate a lot of these features automatically. I know exactly where this thing needs to be. So if I bring this feature up over here, I can just use the fact that these are aligned to locate them. Similarly to the profile view, this is partitioned halfway. So just get a halfway line across. this feature that I just mentioned earlier, that ramp from the top ends like this. Am I done? Nope. I still need the hole. So aligned to this guy, I have a hidden line on this side, hidden line on this side, and between the two, a center line. I'll go bold. And now I am done with this question.